My name's J.C. McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
My friend, Mr. Alfonso Griffin. His piece is called Me and Jesus.
Yeah, it's called Me and Jesus. You have to understand, people kind of hesitate when they claps because they don't know what I'm about to say. I want to thank Cherie for asking me to participate because I didn't realize how far outside my box participating in this event was going to be. When she explained to me what it was about, and I started thinking about what I was going to say, things started coming from deep-rooted memories and stuff, you know. I was like, I don't know about this. And so tonight is going to be just as interesting for me as it may be for you. I'm used to being able to just do a poem and just let it fly and keep it moving. At the very foundation of everything I've done in my life, every success I've had, every accomplishment I've had, at the very root and foundation of everything has been black women. There's nothing that I've accomplished and nothing that I've done where at the root and foundation of that, there were not black women involved in supporting it and holding it up. And so tonight, my thoughts originate from that understanding of where black women get this power from. And that's the question. My mother was pregnant with me when she was 15. You know, so I had a shaky start. You know, she's 15 and she's pregnant with me. And by the time she was 20, she had all four of us. By the time she was 20, she had all four of us. And for every moment of my life that goes by and I think about that again, it just seems more enormous. It never gets I never get used to it. It just keeps getting more enormous. She had four of us by the time she was 20. And when I got older, I was wondering, how did she do that? Four of us by 20, working. One of the things I remembered about my mother, she was always reading and always going to school to get a certificate or something. And I'm like, how did she do that? How did she do it? And I remember one night, must have been like 1 o'clock in the morning. I had to be somewhere between 8 and 10 years old. My mother woke all four of us up. Now, if I'm 8, that means she's probably like 24. And she woke us up. And we're in a row, 8, 7, 6, 5. And we standing there in a room. She called us in the room, and we standing there. And she's in the bed, and my father's in the bed with her. And my father, my father is a big black man. And I remember one time he came to our school, and everybody was running in the hall, and they were looking, and they would say, "It's a big black man in the hallway." And I ran to the door like, who's this big black man? It was my father. So I ran back to the thing. So my father just always in my life been this big hulking black strong man. So this particular night, he was laying in the bed and he was sweating and he didn't look normal and he ain't look right. And my mother looked at us and said, "Listen, we're 8. I'm 8, so everybody's younger than me. My mother said, hey, your father is a heroin addict, and I want him out of my house. But if y'all want him to stay, I'll let him stay. So I'm standing there, and of course, Lonnie, Sherry, and Derek, they look at me. So I have to make this decision. So I'm saying, well, I want him to stay. And she said, okay, y'all can go to bed. But the reason why I wanted him to stay is because he made that grape Kool-Aid with the lemons in it. It was perfect every time. And he made them pork chops and the rice and corn. And I used to cut up the pork chops and mix it up with my rice and corn. And in my mind, I'm not going to get that Kool-Aid. And then pork chops and that rice and corn. And when I got older and I reflected back on that, I was like, how did she do that? I mean, that must have been a heavy 4 kids and a heroin addict. Wow, how did she do that? Where did she get the strength to do that? And then I remember my father's mother, Mama Shannon, and she had 13 kids. And when I reflected, how did she do that? She had 13 kids. And I remember going to the house, and it wasn't nothing for like all 4 of us to want to spend the night with 12 or 13 there already. You know, it wasn't no big deal for us. We just wanted to spend the night. We weren't thinking about what it was going to take to feed us and all of the things that go along with spending the night. And I remember her, she had this washing machine in the kitchen, and it was one of them old-fashioned joints with the rollers. And that thing seemed like it never stopped going. And I always looked at that thing and wanted to put my fingers in it. But I just felt like it was just going to grab me and grab my whole arm, but I never actually put my fingers in it. But I was saying, Mama Shannon, she was working too. And she had 13 kids, man. How did she do that? And the amazing thing is, like, I live by myself. And I can't keep up with my laundry, just mine. How did she do that with 13? How did my mother do that with 4? How did she keep up with the laundry and still had to cook and still had to go to work and still had to do all of these things? It's just amazing to me. I'm grown. I cannot even imagine trying to work and go to school at the same time. Just that, to me, is just totally overwhelming. It's beyond my ability to comprehend. And then, like, to have kids with me and then trying to work and go to school. And, you know, I can't comprehend that. It's not possible for me to even understand how that's possible. I can't even make sure 6 dishes are not in the sink. I can't keep up with the dishes or my clothes. So a lot of my life, I was just like, how do women do this? How do they do that? I remember riding a bus, and I used to ride the bus regularly, and there was a woman, she'd get on the bus with 3 kids. She'd get off the bus, walk them down to the babysitter, catch the next bus going back downtown. Coming home, I would see her getting off the bus, going to get the kids, coming back on the bus, go home. And, you know, it's beyond me. I still ask the question, how do they do that? And it never would get easier for me to understand. Every time I thought about it, it got more and more difficult how to comprehend this. How did they do it? And I have 3 grandmothers. I had Mama Shannon, Mama Ferguson, and Grandma Jackson. Mama Shannon was my father's mother. Mama Ferguson was my mother's mother. And Grandma Jackson was my uncle's mother. And my uncle raised us in the same way. Grandma Jackson, I grew up with Grandma Jackson as one of my grandmothers as well. And Grandma Jackson she just turned 100 recently. So I look at Grandma Jackson and I said, how do y'all do this, man? How do y'all do this? And she says, Jesus. I said, but Grandma Jackson, y'all the one doing it. How? Jesus. That's all she had to say. And in my mind, when I was asking her this, I was also in my angry revolutionary black man stage. So I said, you giving all the credit to Jesus? You the one doing it. She said, no, it's Jesus. And during this angry revolutionary black man stage, you reject Jesus, you reject Christianity, you reject all of that. You can't possibly embrace a religion that helped to enslave your ancestors and on and on, And so, I was the angry revolutionary black man who wasn't buying Jesus or Christianity or none of that. And I remember when people used to try to tell me, people are comfortable letting other people know they need Jesus. Look, you need Jesus. So I was like, no, see, you mess with the wrong one now, because I got questions. And I would hit people, I hit them with questions. What are you talking about? What year was Jesus born? What year did Jesus die? How do you know the man existed and you say you know his age, but how you know his age? You don't even know what year he was born or what year he died, and on and on and on. And I just, on and on and on with all this, intellectual mumbo jumbo. So I wasn't real accepting to the idea that it was Jesus that helped him through it. My grandmother ain't doing no whole bunch of explaining. Jesus. Take it or leave it. And I took it easy on my grandmother because during my Black Power Negro Revolutionary stage, I felt like God made it my personal responsibility to verbally remove your head from your shoulders if you said something that I thought didn't make any sense. So not only was I always angry, but I would study even the Bible, everything, just so I could be ready. But laying in the cut for you to say something that just wasn't right or didn't make sense. So then, it was kind of interesting because during this angry black man revolutionary stage, I angry black man revolutionary myself right out of some really beautiful black women. Because they were not having it. And I would be like, why do you have a problem with that? I'm not down with Jesus and And one thing about it is my experience, I would complain. Sisters, you can be a good person and everything. If you say you ain't down with Jesus, So during my angry black man revolutionary stage, I just got to the point, because my arrogance would not allow me to try to learn and understand. So I just got to the point where, I meet a sister, because, I run my mouth and I stand around looking all majestic. And a sister or two would kind of dig me. But I just got to the point, listen, I ain't down with Jesus. You still want to go get something to eat? well, I'm glad you told me early. We ain't going nowhere. So now I need to be with one of these sisters. So now I got to do some thinking and make some adjustments around here. So, and I genuinely started thinking about how I was rolling and my behavior. And, you know, because it got to the point, man, I go to a function with somebody and whatever. And when I walked in the room, everybody started easing on out. And it just wasn't cool. And then after a while, I was saying, I just don't feel good being mad all the time. There must be another way, you know. So, it must be another way. And my mother passed away in 2005. And when she passed away, when I was going through her things, I found like 15 Bibles, all of them written in, used up. Wasn't nothing looking brand new, all of them, just some a little more tore to pieces than others, but it's like 15 Bibles. Now, growing up, my mother never said, encourage or mention church or religion or Jesus or God or nothing. But I'm looking at all of these Bibles, and I was like, and I know she was an avid reader. So when I'm looking at her stuff, and I'm opening this, thumbing through this, and she was reading this thing. She was reading, whatever reason she had so many, she was in all of them. And I was like, wow, I never knew that my mother was involved in, like, the scripture that way. Because she never went to church, never encouraged us. Now, my 3 grandmothers, that's a different story. But my mother never, ever said anything one way or the other about church or religion or Jesus or anything. So I work in a hair salon. And one day this woman comes in, and I remember her face. And she said, I need you to do my hair. And I said, okay. And A.B., you know, and my people that know me from forever call me A.B. And I was like, who is this woman calling me A.B.? She knows me from forever. So she said, well, my last hairdresser, I didn't like the way she treated me, and I've been trying to find a reason to come to you anyway, so now I'm here. I need you to do my hair. I said, okay, that's cool. And she said, and I used to babysit you and everything, and I used to work with your Aunt Ruth, and so I started remembering her. But what I remembered about this woman was me and my 2 brothers and my cousins. We were all sitting in a row, and we had just got our afros. We just got these blowouts. And we were all sitting there with our afros. And she walked by and touched everyone. Ooh, that's nice. Ooh, your hair's so nice. And I'm the last one. And she got the mind and said, ooh. Yours a little more firm. And I was traumatized, man. Why you want to call my afro firm? But when she said she knew my Aunt Ruth, I remember her, that click, that memory. And I had to be like 7 or 8 years old, but that memory clicked in, and I told her, I remember you. You the one touched my hair and made that noise. Ugh. So she said, well, I didn't mean nothing by it. You know I used to buy you fried chicken. So anyway, I started doing her hair. And she went to this church where my grandmother went to church, where Mama Shannon went to church. And she would always try to get me to come to church. And I was like, I've come a long way, but the church thing it ain't for everybody. That's not my thing. But I respect it, and I'm glad it works for you. And she just never gave up. Months go by. When you gonna come to church? I can show you where your grandmother used to sit. Nah. I said finally one day, I said, listen, I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come to church. Now, one of the things about how I feel now, even about tonight or anywhere, I feel like anywhere that I go, there's a reason for me being there, and you have to just be open to receive the reason. And I've grown to become extremely just open, a lot more open. And I wasn't really threatened by the church or wasn't uncomfortable with the church or anything. I had just concluded it's just not my space. And, but I agreed. I said, okay, I'm gonna come through. She told me what day and everything. I said, okay, I'm coming. You gonna come for real? I'm coming. I said I'm gonna come. I'm gonna be there. Trust me. So, Mount Olive Baptist Church. So I go and walk into church. And, I know a lot of people. I've been born and raised in Hartford all my life. I walk in the building, I naturally see a lot of people I know. And, it's people that really know me real good just can't, what you doing in here? I said, I got invited. What do you mean what I'm doing here? I got invited to church. So, then I went and sat down. And the lady that invited me, she didn't see me yet, so I tapped on the shoulder and she turned around, oh my God, you came. I said, well, I'm insulted. How are you gonna be shocked? I said, I told you I was coming. Come sit right here next to me. Your grandmother used to sit right there. So a lot of people that happened to be there that I knew was coming up to where we were, and she was saying, I'm the one got him to come. I'm the one got him to come. I've been knowing him. I changed his diapers. So now I'm feeling real kind of funny, like, okay. So anyway, and the service was beautiful. That brother that preaches at Mount Olive, if I was a church-going person, I would go check him out. He delivers a great message. He's a great singer. He's a really, and it feels genuine in his presentation. So if I was a church-going person, I could deal with him. I think the last time I went to church, people were still grunting. And I didn't really know what the message was, and I was getting aggravated. Like, can you just say something to me that means something? So anyway, I was really impressed, but I'm in the church, and I started looking around. And I started reflecting back on where do they get the energy from? How do they do it? And I thought about this one incident in my life with Mama Ferguson. I was going to New York for the first time on a bus trip at Fox Middle School. And my mother couldn't afford to get me a new outfit. So what was Mama Ferguson had taught me she had brought us a washboard. And I don't know if some of y'all familiar with the wood on the outside and then that greenish kind of lumpy glass in the middle. And she taught us how to wash our clothes in the bathtub. So and she taught me how to iron too. I'm talking about old school ironing. how to use the tip of the ironing board, everything. That's how she taught me how to iron. So I was like, all right, because of course, I don't want to make my mother feel bad, but I still don't know how she did it. But I said, I got my favorite outfit. I'm going to set it up, and I got it covered. So went up there, got my washboard, and washed out my favorite pants and washed out my shirt. And this the only cooking I've ever done, which is watching my jeans dry to make sure they don't get burnt in the stove. And ironed them and got everything straight, and I had my outfit. I'm good. And, I really wanted some new stuff. But I was good because I'm going to New York tomorrow morning. I got to get up 6 o'clock so I could be at school to catch the bus. So get up, man, and my stuff all crispy, and I'm ready to put it on and get ready to go to New York. And Mama Ferguson and Daddy Ernest came pulling up like gangsters. 6 o'clock in the morning. And she jumped out the car and had these bags. And she had a whole outfit, head to toe, shirt, pants, shoes, socks. She even had at the time I thought it was real leather. Full length, Superfly leather coat to go with the outfit. Showed up on the scene at 6 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't even, there's nothing that can tell you how happy I was. Like, damn. How do they do this? It was just amazing to me. I'm putting on these, I'm so happy and so grateful. Everything fit perfect. And I had a leather coat for the first time. I'm a sidebar to that leather coat. But after the trip, I wanted to go to the cleaners and get my leather coat clean. So Derek, my brother, came to the cleaners with me. We walked up to the cleaners. So I walked in there, I said, man, I want to have my coat clean. And the guy just was heartless. He ain't give me no breaks, nothing. He said, sir, this is plastic, it will melt. Derek fell out in the middle of the cleaners. He was so jealous of that coat. Put it this way. That man in the cleaners made him just as happy as my grandmother made me when she brought me the coat. So back to the clothes, and again, when I reflect on that, how do they do it, man? I don't know how y'all do it. And so I'm in church, and I thought about that, and I looked around, and I just noticed all of these black women. And they were singing about Jesus, and they were praising Jesus, and he was preaching about Jesus. And it just hit me. And I was like, these women leaving this church with some real energy and power because of their faith and belief in this man. This is real, this energy that they taken away from this place. And then I started thinking about all of those things I was questioning. How did they do it? And I was saying to myself, the whole time I was asking how they was doing it, this is where they were getting their energy from. And I thought about my mother and all of them Bibles she had. She was getting genuine energy and strength from that. And I looked around again and I was like, I've been a beneficiary of the power of Jesus my whole life. My whole life. And I was like, I have to respect that. I have to respect that. And I was in there just totally amazed. I said, this is where it comes from, because this is some real power. This is some genuine power and strength that they're getting from this faith and belief in this man. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, I will never question this again. I will never make people uncomfortable with my questions about this again. I just have I had a total new outlook as it related to my respect for Jesus and the power associated with their belief and faith in Jesus. And I came out of that building a different person. And I respect that and appreciate it so much, because sometimes we get so caught up in what we're thinking and what we're believing, we feel like we have to reject everything else. And, you know, I understand it when people do that, but at the same time, for me, there's a balance for me. I'm still not a church person. I'm still not a person that takes on that belief system. But I'm a person who respects it. And again, I'm a person who never has that same thought process when it comes to Jesus. And then also, I'm a person who understands understands how y'all do it, how y'all make it happen, where the energy comes from, where the strength comes from, where the power comes from. And y'all don't even be thinking twice. Black women, y'all just, oh, this needs to be done. Y'all just go into making it happen. It's like, I don't even see how it's enough time in a day for y'all to get everything done that y'all get. I still don't understand it, but I believe I have an understanding where a lot of the power comes from. I believe I have an understanding where a lot of the energy comes from. And the most important thing that I got out of that experience, in spite of the fact that it's not a world that works for me, and that is, there is definitely power in the name of Jesus. And I respect that. Thank you very much.
Awesome.